Also Robinson, president of
Carol, I don't think she can hear me.
Yes, Shillingford. Yes, welcome to St. Vincent and Grenadines. So we hand over to you now to make your presentation to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Pleasant good afternoon to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I hope everyone is hearing me loud and clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 minute. Carol, 1 moment. Is that on?
Yeah.
It's coming through.
Hello.
Let's try again, Carol. Go ahead. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
1 moment. But I don't think you're not coming through clear. So I'm going to mute to use yours because we weren't hearing. 1 moment.
Go ahead and speak.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Somebody else's mic is on.
Yes. Yes.
We are hearing you.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be with you on this Zoom platform.
Starting. It's live. Send you send over. Yeah, I sent it. I think.
Madam General Secretary, could you ask everyone to mute their mics, please?
Okay, I suppose I can
Okay.
proceed? Yes?
Go ahead. I think I get it now.
Okay, so
The
as most,
YouTube that was on.
right, as most persons are aware, on the 10th of March 2022, leave was granted to 6 individuals to apply for judicial review of the decision of the Minister of Health to issue a certain statutory regulation that in effect terminated the employment of certain public servants, teachers, police officers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is a decision which we are, of course, very happy with. We will therefore be filing a fixed date claim form, applying for judicial review and also for constitutional relief on behalf of the affected individuals within the next week. The stated individuals are Chanel Hall, Novita Roberts, Cavett Thomas, Alphonsus Little, Brenton Smith, and Sylvain Oliver. They were represented, of course, by myself, Cara Shillingford, along with Mr. Jomo Thomas and Ms. Sherlyn Banwell, and also part of our legal team would have been Mr. Joseph Lane. So that in a nutshell is the decision or what this matter is about.
I think that's
Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor Shillingford, for your updates. At this time, we would ask. Pardon, you have a question for her?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
For you guys, I don't know. In terms of the process for judicial review, Senate would be submitted next week. Is there a timeline, for when you guys will be going back to court? Is there any?
So I can answer that. Normally when you apply for leave and the process grants leave judicial review, the rules provide that you must file a fixed date claim, that's what it's called, within 14 days. And this 14 days, I think, expires every Thursday or about. So we will be filing on or before 14 days expires next week. And just did give that order, which is in just basically just going notes. Rules which cost rules. So 14 days, yeah, like that.
Okay. So any more questions from anybody online? If you could ask any question and we'll try to give you the appropriate answer at this time.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Right, so my whole issue is that I am not familiar with the legal terms. So when you're saying I will be filing for judicial review and all of that, I am lost as to what is really happening. So if Council Shillingford Marsh or anybody else in the legal team would like to break that down for me and maybe for others, I'll be very grateful. Where are we at this juncture? And I had to ask somebody previously, since it's a court order, not a court decision, and the judge is saying that the claimants, the union should be taken out, does that say that each individual teacher would now have to file for themselves? What is going on? I don't know. So I would like some clarity surrounding those issues. Thank you.
Okay, so to answer your first question, when we say judicial review, we mean that the courts, the judiciary, is reviewing the decision of the minister. So judicial review is a process where the court can look at a decision that is made by a public body or public authority, in this case, a government minister, and to determine whether that decision was reasonable, whether it was illegal, whether the correct procedures were taken, whether the right considerations were, or the right factors were considered. That is what judicial review is about. Now, judicial review isn't something that you can simply file at the court's office. Before you file your case for judicial review, you must get permission from the court. So this is why I said that we obtained leave from the court to apply for judicial review. The reason being that the court ordinarily does not simply want every John Doe on the street to file cases challenging public bodies. There are certain tests, certain things that we would have had to satisfy the court were present. For example, we had to prove that we had a good arguable case with good prospects of success before obtaining leave. Now, as it relates to your second question pertaining to the unions no longer being a party to this case, this is something that we as a legal team have discussed and we will address appropriately, but we cannot speak on this particular issue at this point in this forum.
All right, thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
All members. And I just want to clarify something that is in the public domain. When the judge made the ruling that the unions are not competent authority, the judge is not saying that the unions cannot represent their members. We have a commitment to our members. In fact, it's our members who made the decision that this matter should go to the court. So our members will not be on their own. We will give them the full support. One of our objectives what the judge has said, it does not say that we cannot represent. In fact, we are representing you. And that is one of the reasons why we are having this press conference today, to clarify all those, to eliminate the fears as we go forward. And we have a competent team for working on behalf of all the workers here in the department. Any more questions online? Okay.
I have another question. So, Councillor Shillingford-Marsh, what can we expect after the judicial review? So let's say the judge decides, well, okay, the procedure, the process that the minister took was not fair, it wasn't legal, it wasn't constitutional, whatever terms you use. What happens after that? We have to file another case again to get back up our jobs? What is going to happen?
No. Well, hopefully after the case is argued, it's heard by the court will deliver a decision. If the decision is delivered in our favor, then the judge will hold, that is, if she decides in our favor, that the decision taken by the public service union, etc., was illegal and that it is null and void. The High Court has the power to quash decisions which are taken by public bodies or public authorities if those decisions are illegal. Now, once a decision is quashed, it's as though that decision was never made. So you go back to how it was before the decision was made, before the letters were sent out. So in essence, yes, if the case is successful, then the applicants will have their jobs back.
All right, thank you.
Miss Liverpool, can you mute? Thank you.
Any other question from the? Okay, Councilor.
Not necessarily, the fact yes, Kara has said it, and someone asked the question as to where you go from there, and that was answered. Just to repeat, we have a fixed date claim, which is a claim form that we must file, laying out in more detail what our issues are with respect to.
Excuse me, if the person is speaking for the rest of us to hear, we can't hear.
It's interesting that you're able to hear around from speaks.
Are you hearing? Are you hearing now?
We're not hearing anything. Nobody is saying anything.
No, it's on.
You go ahead, Miss Anne.
Let me find out if just this person has a problem. Tara, if you can hear me, can you raise your hand?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, she can hear me, all right.
As basically just to summarize that, as I've said before, and as Kara has succinctly and eloquently expressed, we filed the claim by next week, Wednesday, Thursday, that's the deadline. And we simply, there would be what is called case management. The court will give other directions as to when to file other documents leading up to the trial of the matter. If I would just say, just in case people think of the timeline and refresh my mind, the order does say that the first hearing of the application, the registrar should set it down for a date in April or May 2022. So you're looking at, now it's what, almost the end of March, and next month and a half, when we'll go back to court for the first hearing, if you're looking at a timeline after we have filed the claim. And thereon, we just simply wait, watch the matter, work on the matter, see it progress to trial, and we certainly will work in a manner to ensure that we have some success. Well, at least try to get some success. If there are no other questions,
What we have to do in future, but what is it, because that this case will be wrapped up in a timely manner and it isn't dragged up for, let's say, 5, maybe 6, 7 years.
what was the question? If I can.
Was it likely?
Was it likelihood that it
Oh,
will be wrapped
you're
up?
right that I can't predict anything, and let's hope that there are anything happening globally that will prohibit this case from progressing expeditiously. I think since we've had the first hearing, Justice Henry has expressed and trying to work within the rules to say that she's going to try to ensure that this matter is heard expeditiously, which is the manner in which these type of matters need to progress through the court. Now, we are in March. The court has already signaled that the first hearing will be sometime in May, April. Let's hope we can have it by April, and I don't think it will be past maybe the first, by the middle of May, because after that, you're looking at the court closing sooner or later, a couple of months later down for summer, for the summer break. So I would like to think and hope that we can work, and the parties on each side can work together to have this matter settled by, if not before the summer break, then at least when the court reopens in September. But we really want to work towards having this matter heard before the court breaks for the summer break.
It will make sense if you're going to do this judicial expeditiously.
Thank you.
The public service union, as was mentioned before, is evaluating the outcome of this case. Our members are really suffering. Those who would have been dismissed are really having a difficult time making ends meet. We will continue to rally around our members. As Brother Robin would have said, we are not going to leave you hanging. The Public Service Union have a commitment, or is committed to standing with the members, every one of you, to make sure that justice is served at the end of the day. We hear the cries on a daily basis. We still will continue to say that this act was a very evil act. Our members who would have contributed so much to nation building and give 20-something years of your life, whether it's teaching or nursing or whatever, you would have served.
Okay, if you could speak a bit louder, Miss Ross, speak a bit louder. They're not hearing.
Without a job and cannot pay their bills. So, we are really hoping that this case is not going to be drawn out, like what would have mentioned before, and that we would get justice in a speedy manner. But we want to reassure our members that we are standing with you, and Public Service Union will continue to work with our legal team and do everything within their power to make sure that our members get justice and everything is done in accordance with the law. As one have mentioned before, also we have a lot of confidence in our legal team, and we will continue as a union, as a trade union, to rally with you until the very end. Thank you.
Do you want to address that question?
Basically, I think the PR for the Public Service Union has said well that our members continue to feel pinched, and that we are really hoping and praying. I know many of them are in contact with each other, praying and hoping that this matter is resolved amicably in our favor. Now, just to mention one thing, I think it was last week that it was said by this minister in question here that there was a mistake in a group of persons who were named as frontline workers. I think it's a step maybe in the right direction. I think they should just go right ahead and admit that the whole issue was a mistake and reinstate our workers, because what is good for one group, of course, must be good for all. And I think it will be really a wise decision on the part of the authorities to just step back from this issue. It's not looking good on their part. The teachers, the workers are suffering, and it could never be a good idea to have your I don't want to say constituents, but these persons are nation builders, as you would have mentioned. They are citizens by rights, and they have a right to own a living in St. Vincent and Grenadines, especially after toiling so many years, whether in the university or school. So I'm really hoping that they could take the bold step which needs to be taken and remove this matter before the court even continues, and let us get back to a dignified state that we are in. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brother John. So, Council Barnett would have spoken about the expediency of this court, and the judge has consistently echoed that matters of this nature must be expedited, and that is why we had, well, at least a hearing at the after the fire in December, and she has been consistent in ensuring that these matters are being scheduled in consultation with all the parties. So there is hope, and we must continue to believe and be optimistic. Always look on the bright side. We know it is a crucial time, but this is not the time to lay down guards. This is the time to stay together, to be united, and let us speak with one voice. We know there are people out there who try to distort and even try to pull down the very organization. Oh, we all don't have a mandate. Yes, we have a mandate. We have a mandate to seek justice. It's a fundamental right to protect the rights of workers. And we are going to do that right to the end. We are not going to leave any stones unturned as we march toward. This is the first order, as I would have said, and we appreciate the work done, and we also in advance appreciate the work that will be done, because we know our lawyers right now, our legal team, our consultant, they have a lot of work now to do. We must appreciate that, and we must put a value to that, because sometimes, people look at legal matters as just a quick jump, but you have to cross the dots, cross the T's and put the dots where they're supposed to be, and vice versa. The language that is used, the authorities which are quoted, everything must be within what we are advocating. And so the lawyers will do the work. We will have our meetings as usual, and you must appreciate that we can't come in the public and put out our strategies. You have to understand that when you are going on a battlefield, there are certain things that you keep dear to your heart. So leadership in this regard is critical. That's why we are not quick to jump in the public and release anything. We must consult with the legal team and be guided accordingly to know what we have to say, when we have to say it, and that sort of thing. So we expect the membership to be patient. We know there's anxiety, there's a lot of interest in this matter, not only here, but throughout the region and the rest of the world. There are people overseas who always want an update. So you have to be patient with us when we get the right person, which are the legal experts, to speak to certain matters and to give you answers to some things that we, the leadership of the organization, may not be able to give you at the time when you want those answers. We want to appreciate Council for being here with us. Council online, Cara Shillingford, our own PSU is here, Brother John and BGS. And those of you who have tuned in, we await any other query you have, anything you want to be clarified. I see K. Jackson, please ask a question as we pause. Facilitate your question.
A pleasant good day, everyone. Just a question. I came in late. I just found out about this meeting. But this is just something that has been on my mind for a while. So I'm going to ask the president, directed to the president. God forbid we do not win this court matter. Do you see the teachers' union surviving after this? And I ask that question because of my own little knowledge of getting persons to join the teachers' union, right? And if we have about what, 200 plus teachers who are members of the union, not being terminated, what is going to become of the union? I'm just thinking ahead.
Well, it's a very good question, but it's not really appropriate for the public. That's a question we should ask within a meeting of the union. But I could assure you that the teachers union have gone through greater trials. Just reflecting alone on 1975, when the leader of the union, one of the leaders was in prison, teachers were transferred. Anything that the government or any other employer would come to battle with us, we'll fight tooth and nail to the end. Governments go, governments come, the union still stands. It has nothing to do with leadership. We have to stay together, bind ourselves together, uphold our motto, hand in hand, united we stand as we move forward. My sister, that's why we're saying we must be optimistic, we must have hope. Even if we lost the battle, and the word loss is not in my vocabulary with this case at this time. But because you have mentioned it, even if that happens, the union will get stronger. Thank you. Yes, please.
I know you are education. But since you were last week, what is the general sense of people frustrated? What are what the feedback that you're getting? And second part, you know, the 2 months that they've been out with some of the financial challenges that they're having right now.
Okay, concerning the challenges, Mr. John is strategically poised because he's the grievance officer and he deals directly. And from his findings, he reports to us, and then we are able to put the necessary support structures in place, because we have been providing support to our members since in December. We have done so December, we have done so in January, and we must appreciate that we are paying legal fees, so that's another form of support. And in any way we are able to assist our members, we will do so. What was the first part of the question?
The general feedback.
Okay, good. Well, the majority, because it's an organization of a diversity, you'll have different views. And you know, don't run away from it. There's some people, because of their political affiliation, they would also have a view. And that is why sometimes you may have misinterpretation of what is being said. You have to make room for all of that. You still, as part of the leadership, you still have to entertain and appreciate the views of your members. Okay? You have to listen to everybody. The majority of our teachers are satisfied that we have crossed the first hurdle. We have applied for judicial review, and we have been granted that, and we are going forward with that. If you notice, one of the strategies we use in this too is to have, which a lot of people are not paying attention to, it's a double case. Because we are going along with constitutional review. Okay? So, if plan A work, you have to kick in plan B. We have not waited until the outcome of the judicial review to again go back to the court. We're not wasting the court's time. And that was visionary on the advice of our legal team. So some people who throw their hands in the air and feel everything is over, no. Even though you're questioning, the judge will not come and tell you the Minister of Education cannot, or the Minister of Health cannot pass a law. Because ministers would go to the parliament to pass laws. What people don't pay attention, is it that the correct procedure was followed? That's another ball game. You understand? So let's not just fold our arms and sit back. The battle is not over. We have gone into the battlefield. We are on the battleground right now, metaphorically. And we are moving onward with a focus. And that is why we want our members out there, especially those who are directly affected, those who have been fired. Okay? The authorities say deemed to have resigned, they resign. And the ordinary man on the street would understand that that can't be. And earlier when we callers spoke about judicial review and our Council Shillingford eloquently explained that. All those things that we are looking at. So the fact that we have been granted leave for judicial review, and we're going in now to discuss in a more comprehensive way the substantive issues, which we can put on the table now. Because there are strategies involved in everything that we do, and we can't put our strategies in the public. We have to use wisdom. So the moral among the teachers now is even more higher. Right? And even though some names were mentioned as claimants, whatever is the outcome, we expect everybody who is affected to benefit. Because I know somebody asked me that question, I know they were fired on how we did call that. All those are strategies that we are employed. But it means that God will allow us to be victorious and everybody will benefit. So the moral is high, it's only a minority of persons. And you have to give way to that. Some people just believe in just being pessimistic. Some people, because they are politically affiliated, they would feel, well, oh, government won. The union's name has struck off. So the union's hands are tied. No, that's not so. We are going forward with more vigor and more courage. The fact that we have the judicial review, the permission for that, that has given us more courage, you know, to move forward with greater vigor. Somebody else is saying something? Say what you have to say now, you know. Now you have the lawyers here. Don't call and ask me, because I'm not a lawyer. I will give you my opinion. So this press conference was designed for you to ask a question and know exactly what did the judge meant when he said that, and so on and so forth. Anybody else have anything else to say? The second part of the question, Mr. John, Industrial Relations Officer, will speak to that. That falls directly in his domain. Brother John.
Yes, thank you very much, Brother President. And of course, this is a very, very important question that was asked. Anyway, in terms of the suffering, we refer to it as suffering that our workers are going through. Directly, the workers have been without pay. And if you, from our research, what we have discovered in relation to teachers is that the majority of teachers who are actually fired or dismissed or deemed to have resigned were teachers who were graduates or of a high, well, qualified teachers or of a higher, which means they basically were graduates, meaning they were earning a fair income, right? And they would have lost that income. Well, the income is important to you no matter how small it is. So all those persons who were dismissed would have lost their income. It means that whatever commitments they had in relation to their mortgages, in relation to their children, we have come across persons who have children even at university, some at secondary school, and it has very significant implications for these students who are at secondary school, who are at university. Some of those persons are fully supported or were fully supported by their parents who were dismissed. It also comes down to a matter of food. Just being able to eat. We are in a situation now where we're seeing cost of living rising. We don't have a number, but if we look at it, the cost of living might be the highest that we have ever seen for a very, very long time. And we have dismissed people among, you know, in the midst of a situation where people are finding it very, very difficult to cope with the high cost of living. So even as simple as buying food, it has become a major issue for our teachers who are dismissed. And another issue that we have noticed is in terms of mental impact that this has been having on our teachers. You have dismissed persons who were just on the verge of building a house or might have started a house, might have bought a vehicle, right? What we are demeaning our people, we're bringing them down to the lowest level. And it seemed to me like they seem to be a pleasure for the authorities to have done this willfully and deliberately. They would have had it in consultation. They would have thought about it. They knew that the impact this would have. And you want to tell me that this still went ahead and did this to our workers who would have been putting in so much, you know, and it is impacting also on the children. You can't forget the children, you know, the children who are doing exams. We're talking about examination coming up in the next month, April and May. Well, I don't know if they have made arrangement because the government should make arrangement with the external examination to give some relief to the children who have lost their teachers. There was a student who I spoke with recently, and she was telling me, I think she was in Form 5, and it seemed as though she has given up hope of doing the SPAs that they are supposed to be doing. They're frustrated. The children are frustrated. They don't know what to do. So how are they going to successfully complete these SPAs without the proper guidance that the teachers who were qualified to do so would have been given them? So it is like they have created basically a crisis in society, you know, for our people, for our children, for our teachers, and for the persons whom they support. I spoke to a teacher recently and he said to me, I am really thinking about going to take this vaccine because my father, he had a stroke and he is the sole breadwinner for the family and he was dismissed. We have teachers who both workers in the family, both breadwinners, were also dismissed. So we are seeing zero income.
Okay.
And these are people that we have said before who have representatives who would have been there to represent them from a political standpoint. And these persons are standing by and allowing our people to suffer. So we keep appealing to the authorities to reconsider. And I would repeat that it was a mistake and we cannot allow it to continue. We cannot allow our people to continue to suffer. So those are just some of the issues, and there are many more that the people are going through.
Just to add also that what the government has done by firing the teachers and other public sector workers is to show that they really enjoy increasing the unemployment. And that is considered progressive. You know, the unemployment among young people is already 37%. And with the amount of persons being fired now, that has increased significantly. Okay, and the BI officer mentioned lastly about the students. We are trying to have a meeting with the Ministry of Education to really ascertain what is the position in terms of CXC, because we saw a list of vacancies being advertised. And the 7th of March was the deadline to apply for those vacancies. 8 schools with a total of 13 subject areas for CXC. So it means that what has happened over the past few months, those students want to talk. I know they would say, oh, we fill the vacancy, we put people in the classrooms. Yes, but from all reports, the majority of those forces do not have the pedagogical skills in teaching. So you're short-changing the nation's children. And you need to come to a settlement, reinstate the teachers, the workers, the nurses, the police officers, custom workers, all the workers that you have fired, you need to come back and repent of it. And the good Lord will bless you. And we rest our case. I don't know if anybody have any final remarks to make.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. President, what are your thoughts on the government's recent decision to allow and vaccinate sanitation workers to return to work, and what sort of impact do you see is having on you?
Right. Very good question. And the IR officer alluded to it. And in my earlier statement, I said, reinstate everybody. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. So if you recognize there was a flaw in the system, when I heard they put in the sanitation workers at front, I laugh. I describe it as madness. From our platform at the Teachers Union, very early o'clock, we said, you were staging a crisis. And the intellectuals in this society tried to target us and say, we crazy, we don't know what we say. No, everybody is seeing. You see, we are visionary. We see the things coming. We are a proactive organization, and that's why the Public Service Union and the Teachers Union and the Police Welfare Association, with the advice of our legal team, we had several public consultations. We call out the churches. We said they are trampling on your religious liberty, right to conscience, your right to choose. We started the public education and awareness. And we made a joke. The sanitation workers were getting the virus from the garbage. Or they giving the garbage the virus. and we said somebody somewhere doesn't seem to know what is happening. So many conflicting information they have given us. You know? So the point of the matter is, all workers who have been affected by this madness need to be reinstated with all the benefits. Because if you do something for one set of persons, you can't discriminate enough. Because you said it's a public health emergency you're trying to address, right? Everybody in the public.
So do you see it having any bearing on the women's case?
Well, that is for the judge and the lawyers to argue in the court. But it is just a rational thing that if I am a Vincent and I have a right under the Constitution as a sanitation worker, then you must not discriminate on me because I am a we call white collar worker, a police, a teacher, policeman. You understand? Everybody must benefit. Can't have one law for this and one law for that in the name of the public. That's just my humble submission on that. But we are moving forward in unison with our allies, Public Service Union, Police Welfare Association, and what we're doing, we're talking law. That's what we're speaking about. The facts, we're dealing with law and the rights of our members in going forward. Somebody is asking a question. Somebody have their hand up there.
Hi, good afternoon. My question and my concern is, will the government side have a right to appeal? And if so, does anyone know if, I heard that the deadline has passed, and I was wondering if anyone knew if they decided to launch an appeal for.
Well, everybody have a right to appeal. If you want to appeal, who want to appeal, let them appeal. The court has to entertain that because that is part of natural justice, that is part of due process. Okay? Because the justice system has to deal with just fairness and what is just. So I would say who want to appeal, they have a right to appeal. Okay?
sorry.
We,
I was just wondering if the government, because I was listening to Mr. Jomo Thomas on the radio, and he was saying that the government side had until, I think it was yesterday, to file an appeal. And I was wondering if you know whether or not, if the lawyers present know whether or not they did in fact launch an appeal.
no, based on the advice of counsel here, and you notice I'm learning the legal language. Based on the advice I've just received in just a few seconds after your question, no notice has been served.
Okay, thank you. That's a relief. Thank you. Good to know.
Right, that's why we have to be optimistic. I like your response. We
Thank
want
you.
to use the opportunity also to appreciate the claimants, those who have come forward, and they have been well disciplined in the court, because even though it's virtual court, they have conducted themselves in a good fashion, and we want to commend you for that, to continue. Remember, we have placed on you an oath of secrecy, so I'm just reminding you about that in terms of our strategy and what comes out, and that we will continue to follow the protocols. If there is no other comment from the head table, yes, you want to.
The gentleman from Searchlight asked about, sorry, Vincent, I want to speak to you. Ask about the case in relation to those sanitation workers. We have been dealing with a similar case with those persons from Tongboard. They don't fall under the Public Service Union because we're still trying to sort out, even though the Labor Department would have written to them, because they wanted to come over to the Public Service Union. Their portfolios are similar in terms of what they do, but they were sent home as well. So we are eagerly awaiting that aspect in terms of how it's going to impact their case in being reinstated with their benefits. As well. We want to appeal again. We will continue to appeal to the government, the cabinet ministers, and in particular the government, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to reconsider. Do not allow the court to basically make the decision for you. The ball is still in your court to repeal this regulation that would have caused so much pain and suffering to our Vincentian, our members, our Vincentians across the board, and we're really appealing to you again to correct the historical wrong that would have been done to our members. You still have time to do so, and don't allow the court to basically tell you what you need to do in terms of correcting this historical wrong.
Thank you. I also want to use this opportunity again to thank Council Shillingford, a brilliant lawyer who have joined with our legal counsel here, champion this cause. Cara, I sat and I listened to you, and you were just awesome. You have been blessed with tremendous talent, and I'm happy that the Creator have given you the opportunity, and it comes at an opportune time that we could draw on your expertise to work with our legal chamber, Jomo Thomas's chamber, in helping us to fight this great battle. I have heard for myself, Senior Counsel Astefan, saying hats off to you on several radio programs. He said, you are great, and I know you're talented. I want to encourage you to continue, and we are very pleased that Council Thomas Chambers reached out to you. And that was part of this strategy. We could say it now because everybody's seeing you, but we couldn't tell everybody else who coming up against Astefan, But kudos to you, hats off to you. I don't know if you have any final comments you want to say before we bring the curtains down, because Council Barnwell has another engagement So we permit you to say any final remarks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, for your kind words. We have an extremely strong legal team with Council Banwell, Council Thomas, and with Mr. Lane from Grenada. So I am confident that, our legal team is competent and that, we will do our very best for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This kind of case, public law, constitutional law, judicial review cases, these cases concern human beings and how we treat each other. So these are the kind of cases that I particularly enjoy doing. I would like to reiterate or agree with those speakers who called upon the government, to take to do what is right. Yes, the matter is before the court, but it is not too late to, turn back on this course that they have taken and to reinstate all affected workers. Because as was rightly said, it's not just these workers who are affected, but it is all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There's all it is the economy, the children, the persons who are seeking public services, etc. So it was a pleasure being here with you today. I've never physically been to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but I very much look forward to visiting St. Vincent at some time in the near future. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, we would invite you to St. Vincent. You have such brilliant persons out there and that, bringing you so that other people could emulate some of the understanding. We also want to thank Mr. Lane out of Grenada for working with us, for your hard work, for the advice and the guidance. And it is always a pleasure to sit in the virtual meetings with you also. And we look forward that we'll continue to work harder. Council Barnell, do you have any final remarks? Okay. So if there are no more questions from those in the audience, we want to use this opportunity to thank the media who have made it possible to be here. Those of you who with very short notice was able to log on, we appreciate your comments, your questions, and we look forward that you'll help to share the information and some of the clarifications that we have had from this meeting. I want to thank our General Secretary who is there, helping to man the technology, Mr. John. Mr. John didn't expect to speak, but these things are there to his heart, so I have to give him a little heads up. And it's good to see our sister from the Public Service Union who's here, and she did make an earlier apology for the absence of the president of the Public Service Union who could not have been with us this afternoon. We want to give you the assurance that we continue to work hard and we look forward for victory in the upcoming month. Thank you again for participating, Cara. We appreciate you again. Brother Lane, Jomo, Zita,
May I say something?
Israel,
Just
Bruce.
1 point.
Yes. Yes, we have you, Mr. Lane. We can't go without.
I don't want to put any damper on, but just out of an abundance, I just want to make the point that I don't think the time for appealing has expired yet. I don't think the 7 days has expired yet. So we still need to be cautious on that. Hopefully they don't appeal. I don't think they have any real ground, but I just want us to be very cautious on that so that just in case, it wouldn't be saying when the team didn't know what they're talking about and them stuff. Because it's 7 days, and within 7 days, you don't check the public holidays. So really, it was Monday, they would know that, so I'm not letting out any secret.
Anything else, Brother Lane, you want to say? You and Cara, both of you now are in St. Vincent Grenadines because everybody's seeing you,
Okay.
Yeah, well, we see you now, yeah. Yes.
All right, okay, good.
And thank you for that last bit of information. We really appreciate all the advice that we are benefiting from, both of you, in collaboration with the other players in this very important exercise. So that's it. We thank you again for coming online and those who are physically here, and we look forward to the best. All the best to you.